सर ये स्लाइड जो है इनको
टेस्ट करने से
जूम पे करना है।
ताहिर सुल्तान आए हैं उनके साथ मीट करें। नहीं आ रहा फीस हो गई है ना।
ये सर का जूम और है सर का जूम और है। हमारे तो इधर शेयर आता है, हम उसी वक्त शेयर कर देते हैं।
आपने वो शेयर स्क्रीन करनी है?
हाँ शेयर स्क्रीन पर मुझे ये नजर आया है, इधर तो बना करें ये आया आपको इधर आता है कहीं शेयर स्क्रीन।
ये स्टूडेंट वाले कुछ हो गया।
ये नीचे देखो नीचे।
हाँ ये आया
ये आया। कौन सी चीज
कौन सी फाइल है?
ये है
साबिया बस मैं एंटर हो गया हूं, स्लाइड शेयर कर रहा हूं।
ये
स्लाइड शेयर कर रहा हूं।
हाँ
सर ये
होगा।
ये सर स्क्रीन पे
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम।
जी डॉक्टर साहब मैं आपकी आवाज सुन रहा हूँ।
हाँ जी बस हम स्लाइड शेयर भी हो गया हमारा। आपको स्लाइड्स नजर आ रही है मेरी?
जी आ रही है, स्क्रीन शेयर हो रही है, बिल्कुल ठीक है।
बस ठीक है, बहुत शुक्रिया। अभी हमारे पास 3-4 मिनट है तो मैंने टेस्टिंग कर लेते हैं। आवाज भी आ रही है, तस्वीर भी आ रही है मेरी, वो भी आ रहा है सारा। चलिए ठीक है। ये इतना अहम टॉपिक है जो इंजीनियर्स इग्नोर करते हैं और उनको जॉब्स नहीं मिलती, और ये आपकी कम्युनिटी सर्विस है कि आप अवेयरनेस फैला रहे हैं। हाँ जी बंद कर।
सर आपको मेरी आवाज क्लियर आ रही है ना?
हाँ जी क्लियर आ रही है, हल्की सी गूंज है लेकिन इतना होती है। आपका ऑफिस वही है जहां पे मैं आया था?
नहीं सर अब चेंज हो गया है।
अब कहीं आप शादरा साइड पे चले गए, लंबा साइड पे है।
जो हमारी जी लेबोरेटरी है और मेन ऑफिस है और जो हमारा वेयर हाउस है वो इधर शादरा साइड पे चला गया है, लेकिन हमारा लियाजन ऑफिस गुलबर्ग में है, 32 मेन गुलबर्ग, वो जो मैकडोनल्ड है ना उसकी बैक साइड पे।
अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है, वो शयान लेन के आसपास। नॉर्मली इस तरह के लेक्चर्स 5 से 10 मिनट लेट शुरू हो रहे हैं क्योंकि लोगों को टेक्नोलॉजी में इतनी अवेयरनेस नहीं है, और एक नया बंदा जब आता है तो 4-5 मिनट लगाता है
हाँ
लॉग
जी,
इन।
हाँ जी, इसलिए हम तकरीबन 2:10 पे शुरू करते हैं जी, 5-10
हाँ जी,
मिनट
मुझे ये बता दीजिए।
कितनी रजिस्ट्रेशन है हमारे पास? 35 की रजिस्ट्रेशन, 13 लोग ही आए हैं,
हाँ जी
तो हम 15 हो जाएंगे तो हम शुरू कर देंगे जी इंशाल्लाह।
ठीक है, अब ये देख लीजिए कि सबको स्लाइड्स नंबर नंबर 1 आ रही है, नंबर 1 और नंबर 2 ये 4 बजे खत्म होगा ना?
हाँ जी
4 बजे तक
इंशाल्लाह जी,
करना है।
2 घंटे। डॉक्टर साहब ये बताएं, किसी को अगर सवाल हो तो वो लेक्चर के दौरान पूछें, कि वो जो हमारा
आखिरी
एलोकेटेड
15
टाइम
मिनट,
है 20 मिनट्स, उसके दौरान पूछें।
आखिरी 15 मिनट हम उसको एड्रेस करेंगे।
ठीक है, करेक्ट। शादी से आएगा वो बुलाओ।
हाँ दे जो। चलो
ये जोन पे चला गया खुद ब खुद ही।
मैंने किया था सॉन्ग पे।
क्यों?
मैंने कहा तो स्पीड अच्छी आएगी, आपका स्पीड चलेगा।
लेकिन वो मुझे लगता है पीछे ठीक चल रहा था, गया ये चला दे।
चला लिया फिर। अच्छी तेज आ रही थी वहाँ पे।
हाँ, नहीं इनकी कट के आ रही है मेरे पास।
ठीक है,
अच्छा हो गया, वो कुछ नहीं होगा, ठीक है करेक्ट।
स्पीड ज्यादा अच्छी आती है, पता नहीं क्यों। 'इनफॉर्मल अनाउंसमेंट कर रहा हूँ कि पाकिस्तान इंजीनियरिंग काउंसिल की जी रिक्वायरमेंट है कि जो लोग सीपीडी सर्टिफिकेट्स के लिए अपना, जिनको ये सीपीडी सर्टिफिकेट के लिए रजिस्टर किया है, आपने अपनी वीडियोस ऑन रखनी है हर वक्त, आपका चेहरा हमें नजर आना चाहिए लाइव। तो काइंडली मुझे ये दोबारा अनाउंसमेंट ना करनी पड़े, स्पीकर डिस्टर्ब होता है। लास्ट टाइम भी मैंने इतनी दफा अपील की थी, फिर वो लोग नहीं ऑन रखते अपना, मुझे फिर बार बार स्पीकर को डिस्टर्ब करना पड़ता है। तो काइंडली अपना जो आपने अपनी वीडियो है वो ऑन रखनी है। ये जो जिन्होंने रजिस्टर किया हुआ है अपने आप को इस वेबिनार के लिए, और जिनको सर्टिफिकेट्स मिलने हैं। बस 5 मिनट के बाद हम इंशाल्लाह इसको स्टार्ट करेंगे। डॉक्टर साहब, मेरे ख्याल डॉक्टर साहब को मैंने 2:10 का कहा है, वो मेरे हाथ जो नजर नहीं आ रहे इस वक्त वीडियो में, गालिबन कहीं उठ गया है।
का तू जाकर ना शहबाज को कह दो अगर 5 मिनट में बिजली ना आए तो जनरेटर चला दिया करे। एकदम चलाएगा ना तो फिर वो 5 मिनट इंतजार किया करे, अगर बिजली ना आए तो फिर चलाएगा। आगे हाँ ये क्या हुआ वैसे उसको ये बात। हाँ
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीबॉडी। हाँ जी शुरू करें सर।
बस मैं शुरू करता हूँ सर, मैं भी इंट्रोडक्शन करा रहा, मैं आपका इंतजार कर रहा था कि आप आ जाएं।
बस ठीक है, मैंने वॉशरूम का ब्रेक लिया था 2 मिनट का। जी बिस्मिल्लाह करें।
अच्छा जी, बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। This is your host Tahir Sultan on behalf of Pakistan Society of Civil Engineers. I welcome you all in this webinar, which is number 22 in the series. And today our guest speaker is Dr. Ali Sajid. And the topic of today's webinar is employability skills for engineers. Kindly note, this is a very important topic as most of the engineers do not care for the skills like administration, management, and I should say labor management. Most of the engineers, it is well known that we lack in that sector. So Pakistan Society of Civil Engineers felt their responsibility to have a webinar on this topic to educate the engineers. Earlier, we already had a lecture on communications, which was given by engineer Rizwan Mirza. So today's lecture is again on a topic which is of utmost importance for the engineers, though it is not technical in nature, but it is, the engineers need such education when they rise high in their career. So before I give the mic to Dr. Ali Sajid, there are certain rules which everybody has to follow. One, today the questions will not be asked during the lecture. Dr. Saab will answer your questions once he finishes the lecture, and during the lecture question answer time, which we have about 20 minutes at the end. Anyhow, in the meantime, during the lecture, if you have any questions, please text, and we will keep on noting those questions, and I will read out those questions at the end of the lecture for Dr. Saab to answer. Second, which is very important, please keep your videos on. We must see your faces live, as it is a requirement of Pakistan Engineering Council. We cannot allow anybody listening to the lecture with his video open, with your video closed. This is a rule prescribed by Pakistan Engineering Council. We must be sure that you are listening to the lecture for those who have registered officially and are aspirant for the CPD certificate. Thank you very much for your cooperation. And again, keep your videos open. If I will make an announcement during the lecture, it will disturb the flow of the speaker. So kindly cooperate. So after Dr. Ali Sajid completes his lecture and question answer is finished, then I will make further announcements. Thank you very much for listening. Dr. Ali Sajid, the floor is yours. Please start your lecture.
Thank you very much, Engineer Tahir Sultan Sahab. This is tremendous effort, and I must appreciate your team spirit and your society, your spirit towards.
Just a
value.
minute. Just a minute, Dr. Saab. In the flow, in the heat of the moment, I just forgot to introduce you because there was something. Just let me have your brief introduction.
Okay.
And then you can continue. I am sorry, Ji. I just forgot to introduce Dr. Ali Sajid. His brief introduction is as follows. Dr. Ali Sajid, a former Army officer, received his BSc in Mechanical Engineering from UET Lahore, Pakistan. He then went to United States for higher studies. He attended George Washington University, a university of high repute in Washington, D.C., where he received his MSc and mashallah PhD in engineering management. He was also a former consultant of World Bank, and he is known as founder of Pakistan's prestigious business and management institutes. Dr. Ali Sajid is a former head management sciences at National University of Sciences and Technology, Pakistan, the founder, and he's the founder of the Center for Advanced Studies in Engineering, CASE, and founding director of Institute of Business and Management, UET Lahore. He was associated with that school from 2009 to 2013, and then he left this organization because he could not get along with the organizational politics going on there. So he's a very straightforward person, and he believes in only work. He doesn't believe in politics. So he left that organization, and he has now established the Lahore School of Professional Studies, which is abbreviated as LSPS in Lahore. And to cut in short, he is known as Pakistan's top guru for quality management, and he's one of the contributors of the Encyclopedia of Quality and Service Economy. So Dr. Sajid.
Thank you. बहुत शुक्रिया जी, मेरे लिए ऑनर है आपने मुझे चांस दिया. This is very heartening to note that Pakistan Society for Civil Engineers are taking very proactive actions to add real value in the society. और ये free seminar कराना, webinar कराना अपने time में से आप जैसे great civil engineers के लिए बड़ा मुश्किल होता है, and I really value and appreciate that effort. Today we are going to discuss very important but ignored topic, which should be essential for Pakistani engineers. That is employability skills or soft skills. Realizing this effort, while I was the member of Engineering Council last session, I tried to introduce these new training sessions into the Engineering Council curriculum, and also I have introduced these as a full-fledged course in my MS program at the University of Lahore and other schools. मैं बड़ा प्राइड लेता हूँ कि मुझे अल्लाह ताला ने इस काबिल किया कि मैं कुछ सोसाइटी में वैल्यू ऐड कर सकूँ. थोड़ा बहुत खुदा ने जो शऊर दिया उसको हम सोसाइटी में शेयर करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. आज का टॉपिक 2 घंटे का है और इसमें आखिरी 15 मिनट आई विल ट्राई टू फोकस ऑन द क्यूए सेशन, एंड यू कैन आस्क मोर क्वेश्चंस. और क्यूए सेशन अगर लंबा भी चला तो हम उसको खींच लेंगे. बट अगेन आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट ऑल द लर्नेड पार्टिसिपेंट्स not to intervene, ताकि फ्लो 2 घंटे में इतना टाइम कम है. ये 2 दिन की ट्रेनिंग है जो मैं इंडस्ट्री में और इस्लामाबाद की मल्टीनेशनल्स और लाहौर की इंटरनेशनल एजेंसीज और कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में देता हूँ. तो मेरे लिए 2 दिन को 2 घंटे में मुहित करना बड़ा मुश्किल था और है. मैं उसको at times I may be going very fast, at times I may be skipping some slides to cover the basic important topic, keeping in view the अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ टाइम. और नेक्स्ट टाइम मैं इंजीनियरिंग काउंसिल को भी रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा और आपको भी इसके लिए कम से कम 3 घंटे रखें, क्योंकि ये 6 घंटे का कोर्स है एक दिन में जो बनते हैं उसको 2 घंटे तक कन्फाइन करना बड़ा मुश्किल है. तो मैं पीएससी की खुद कमेटियों का मेंबर हूं, मैं उनको भी रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि इसको आप काइंडली 3 घंटे का मिनिमम रखें. इस बैकग्राउंड के साथ हम चलते हैं. आज का टॉपिक एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल पे है. अब वाई एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल, पहला सवाल तो ये पैदा होता है कि एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी स्किल है क्या. मैं जब यूटी में था तो कोको कोला इंडस्ट्री में मैं किया, जब मैं पढ़ाता था वहाँ तो कोको के मैनेजर एचआर मैनेजर ने या जो डायरेक्टर एचआर ने. जी आवाज आ रही है?
जी डॉक्टर साहब, कैन आई इंटरप्ट?
जी गो अहेड सर.
Sir, for your information, this webinar is going live on Facebook and on YouTube. So
MashaAllah.
we have viewers from Europe and Middle East, and maybe some of them cannot understand Urdu. So
Okay,
kindly,
great. So I will be shifting into English. This is my mistake.
Thank
So
you.
while I was teaching in UT Lahore, I was told by the HR manager of Coke that most of the engineers of public sector universities are not able to express their basic expression or basic needs, or what you call, they cannot write few sentences in Urdu or English. That was a strange revelation for me. That was a very amazing fact for me, that our engineers even do not know how to write and what to talk and when to talk and where to talk and to whom to talk. Yeah, that is a common issue. So our UETs, our public sector engineering universities, especially, and private sector in general, they are not focusing on the life skills or soft skills or employability skills, especially the human communication skills. So realizing this effort, what we have done is we have introduced new series of trainings in Pakistan Engineering Council's platform, number one. And number two, what we have done is we have introduced independent 3 credit hour courses in our universities. For example, in the University of Lahore, this course is being taught almost every semester at MS level, so that they can, our engineers and technical managers can better understand the basic requirement of the industry in terms of soft skills. That is a background which I would like to mention before we start. This is a Zoom, and Zoom at times create problems. For example, at times it creates problems in changing the slides. Let me see. So I'm starting my statement, the discussion, with famous verse from Holy Quran. You should remember that only with the remembrance of God, you will get satisfaction in your heart. This is the translation of this great ayah of Quran Pak. I always start my discussion with famous statement of Confucius: don't curse the darkness, light a candle. We should not blame the darkness, rather we should add value to the society by doing minor act of kindness, minor act of validation, minor act of convenience and comfort to the ordinary person across the society. So there's a famous Urdu poet, that is Ahmad Faraz. He translated this statement of Confucius into famous Urdu sher of Ahmad Faraz, marhum. I would like to mention here, शिकवा ज़ुल्मत शब से तो कहीं बेहतर था, अपने हिस्से की कोई शम्मा जलाते जाते. So Mr. Tahir Sultan is adding value and trying to light the candle to overcome the darkness by offering these kind of courses. I must salute their commitment, their contribution to the society, and I am taking pride in helping them in associating their great cause. So we must try to reduce the darkness by lighting the candle of our own share, irrespective of our status or rank or whatever you call it. Shola banna asan hai, chirag banna mushkil. It is difficult to be a light spreader or maybe a candle, but it is easy to become a what you call spark, which can ignite the peaceful, loving citizen or peaceful, loving member of the society. This is a statement of the father of the nation. I translate into English directly: hope, courage, and self-confidence. This is the message to my nation. This is my fellow nation. This is the statement of father of the nation, Qaid Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. I repeat it again: Umeed, himmat aur khud ko e'timadi. That is hope, courage, and self-confidence. This is the message to my nation. And through these kind of discussion, we try to inculcate the element of hope amongst our team, our associate, our peers, and our players. Another motivational talk before we formally start: when person does good deed, when he or she did not have to, God looks down and smiles and says, for this moment alone, it was worth creating world. This is the importance of selflessness in the society. Khud begharzi or belossi is the core element of our religion. And the importance of this message is that we should add value to the society, irrespective of hope for return. This is another motivation statement of Helen Keller, the blind, deaf, and dumb lady. She says, self-pity is our worst enemy, and if you yield to it, we can never do anything wise in this world. So change your thoughts and you change your world. Today, in our brief session, we will try to change our thinking process, and logical outcome of thinking process is thought. How to change your thoughts. When you change your thoughts, you try to change you start changing your world. And this is the again statement of famous Greek philosopher Socrates. He says, I cannot teach anyone anything, but I can compel them to think differently and deliver innovatively. So I again try to knock your mind today, because I cannot teach the mature mind anything. I will simply try to highlight the importance of certain ignored areas. Today we will help you to recognize, develop, and sell your employability skill. This course is for 2 hours course, especially designed for the technical managers and engineers. And again, our objective is to highlight the importance of employability and employability skills. This is the famous, what you call platform of Ludo. And at times you go to the 99 and you get the bite from the snake and you come again to the 0. This is very common in the childhood. You used to play these kind of games. So life will give you opportunity and you reach to 99, but you cannot make century, because at times you lack certain skills which are prerequisite to jump to the next climb to the next orbit or to the new heights or new stairs. So I suggest you don't fall and fly. How it is possible? Now we are going to discuss how it is possible. What do you want from life? My first question is, what is your demand from the life? From your life, you want money, you want responsibility, something worthwhile, a good work-life balance, being creative, and a moment to laugh and smile. And you must work outside, working with the people, and you are working with the people. You are doing something, you are making something, and you want respect, and you should be original, and you should be flexible, and you need power and influence. This is your demand. This is your demand from the life. Now, what reward you are likely to get? That first reward is money. Second is power. This is proportionate, return you expect from your set of capacity or competencies, being creative, working with the people, as I told you, security, fun, work-life balance, and these kind of stuff. So how can you be happy? Create your own reward set. And you can create your own reward set by having certain number of skills. And those skills are different than the hard skills. Hard skills are typically technical skills which we acquire from the universities. That is mechanical engineering and concrete equations and slabs and bending movement and these kind of stuff. These are the hard skills, but your life skills, your soft skills, and your employability skills are different. And we do not recognize the importance of those skills. As an employer, I am employing around 40 to 50 people at the moment. Those are the knowledge workers in my office. They are high-tech professionals, MS and PhDs. I do not hire them because of their degrees, but I also do consider their communication skills, their writing skills, their etiquette, manners, their willingness to work, their self-motivation, their leadership style, their team building style, and their positive attitude above all, and can-do attitude at all. So these skill sets helps me to choose one professor in my university. Likewise, Tahir Sahab also do not choose that engineer based upon his 4.0 GPA. Rather, he must get the reference of his attitude, willingness to work, desire to excel, his communication or her communication skill, whether he or she can express himself or herself or not, whether he or she is a team builder, whether he is willing to bless more and blame less. Ye sari khasiyatein, all those characteristics and traits we want to see in our employees. And in most cases, our 80% or 70% employees do not possess most of them. This is the problem we are facing.
Dr. Saab?
Ji.
Sir,
Go ahead, sir.
I'm a bit curious that I hope you are not using the slides at the moment, because we can see only the first slide on our screens. Just to make sure that
I'm trying to change. Let me see. There may be some mistake. I should call my IT person. Wait for a second.
to be changed, you know.
ये स्लाइड्स देखने चेंज नहीं होगी कितना आगे बैठ गया शायद फुल मैं किया तो
जी सर सर ये हो रही है चेंज
उनको नजर नहीं आ रही अब स्लाइड चेंज हो रही है ताहिर साहब
नो नहीं चेंज हो रही
हाँ जी
नहीं जी नहीं चेंज हो रही
आप देखें होल्ड ऑन फॉर सेकंड
ये स्टॉप किया है दोबारा शेयर ये आपका तो पास हो गया
वालेकुम सलाम बच्चे किधर गायब हो गया है
ठीक है
अच्छा चक्कर नहीं लगाया आपने अच्छा अच्छा अभी ऑफिस हो अच्छा अच्छा ऑफिस हो अभी चल 4 बजे तक बैठा हूँ तो उससे पहले चक्कर लगा तो आ
स्लाइड शेयर करना है स्लाइड शो
नहीं सर स्लाइड शो
अब ये फुल स्क्रीन कर देना
जी अब चेंज हो रही हैं
जी सर ठीक है मैं डॉक्टर साहब को बुला लेता हूँ
सर हो गया
महीने में एक बार होता है
सॉरी यहाँ पे आएगा
अच्छा जी ये एक एम्प्लॉयर है जिसको एक खास स्पेसिफिक सेल्फ स्किल सेट के बंदे he or she wants a person or professional with a specific skill set and that specific skill set is not degree alone, it is a couple of other things. Those allied strength of an individual is called employability skills. So before we define those employability skills, let me briefly give you a precise definition of employability: the capability for gaining and maintaining employment. I mean, the skill because of which you are likely to get some employment offer, not only offered, then also you sustain over a period of time. Those skills are called employability skills. So this is the definition of employability. For employability, a second definition we see, the ability to be employed. What it takes to get a job, what it takes to keep it, what it takes to be successful, adding more value than you take, and being useful, productive, meaningful, and proactive. That is the requirement of any employer and employer. So this is the third definition of employability: having the capability to gain initial employment maintain employment and obtain new employment if required for any individual. So why do we need employability skills? The next question rises, why do we need employability skills? The only quick answer could be so that you could become more attractive, more meaningful, more positive, more productive, more proactive for any potential employer. You should be having knowledge and ability plus, and that is positive attitude, willing attitude, can-do attitude, smiling attitude, good communication skill, good writing skills, good body language, decent etiquettes, decent and positive manners, respect for everyone, proactiveness, and special initiative, self-motivation, and desire to excel, and problem-solving skills, and decision-making skills. These things are prerequisite for your employability skills. Now we are in a position to define finally employability skills, a set of attributes, skills, and knowledge that all labor market participants should possess to ensure they have the capability of being effective in the workplace. Now, why we need soft skill, these employability skills. Before we discuss those core issues, let me explain the 3 or 4 more names which are typically associated with the employability skill. The first more commonly used word is soft skills. The second is life skills. The third is generic skills, basic skills. And these skills contain a couple of other 6 or 7 strong skills I'm going to explain in a few minutes. So these employability skills enable anyone to apply their technical knowledge to a variety of jobs. Now, in our universities, the technical universities, they give them basic technical skills, but how to apply them, how to be a good team player, how to work in a positive team manner and in one-to-one combination is a core job. How to express your point of view, how to encourage your team player, how to motivate him or her is the core issue. Now, these employability skills help any engineer to excel. Now, those persons who become the chief engineer or member power in WADA, they are not ordinary, typical 4.0 CGPA type engineer. They are person with composed behavior, with strong listening skill, with strong leadership skill. His or her motivation and patience and perseverance far better than ordinary person. His IQ is not like in Newton, but his intelligent quotient is more than what is desired. That defines his or her composed behavior. So employers value people who fit into well in their team and workplace, use initiative to solve routine problems and work productively. They do not only give some eye wash or total pura karne wali jo strategy hai, they do not follow that. They have good time management skills and they know how to prioritize, when to prioritize, and what to prioritize. This is the core issue. One, what to prioritize, when to prioritize, and what to prioritize. They are committed to continuous learning. They are deep learner and they keep on increasing their skills of technical expertise. So what is the main idea then behind the employability skill? Employer look for specific skills and characteristics in their employee. Finding a job requires careful preparation of application. Both employees and employers have right and responsibility. Now I can give you one example of one gentleman to whom I met last year in San Francisco, Silicon Valley. His name is Faizan Ali. His age is 23 years old. He was an American citizen born in America and then raised in Lahore and Karachi and Islamabad. And at the age of 16, he left again to study in US. It is a typical good case study I would like to mention here for the consumption of audience. And this is the life and actual case study. And I can even share the videos at a certain second stage. I interviewed him in Los Angeles. He told me that he came to USA from Lahore at the age of 16. He did his high school, they called it 12th grade. And then he passed the SAT 2 exam and got the admission in BS Computer Science in University of Maryland College Park, where he got first years. In second year, he started job in Washington DC area, and ultimately he got a call from Silicon Valley and was given a ticket to fly 3,000 miles. He went there and they took his interview and he stayed there for 2 days. In those 2 days, they checked his employability skills, soft skills, life skills, communication skills, leadership skills, and self-motivation skills, and above all, team building skills. After detailed evaluation and assessment, he was given an offer for a job 10 times, maybe 8 times more what he was thinking and expecting for. And they asked him, we don't need your degree in computer science. 2 years education is sufficient for you. Just shift to Los Angeles or San Francisco from Washington, DC, and we will pay all your bills and expenses. This is the importance of employability skills in the first word. I'm talking about the USA. Now, in our countries, we are still thinking of CGPA and degree and relevance of the degree, and degree is attested or not, or it is certified by grade 17 officer or not. We are still stuck in those old paradigms. The time has now come that we must give a fresh look, a new look to our thought process and focus more on skills as opposed to degree. That is the first conclusion of the day. Now, what are the top skills that everyone wants? What I want in my office? Good communication skill for the students handling. I want from my employees. And of course, in construction company like Decon or any company like Nespark, they also want engineer with good communication skill that contain and entail both written and verbal communication skill. Then winning and smiling and can-do attitude. Yes, we can do. We will throw some more light on that. Then the good leadership skills. Then she should not be rigid, rather more flexible. He should be able to take initiative and must have good enterprising skills. He should be self-motivated. Should be good team player and with strong work ethics and demonstrate great commercial value and determination. So I will explain these in few minutes, one by one. Before we formally explain those good employability skills, allow me to show you one exhibit, number 1, that shows the important factor considered when recruiting graduates. It is the summary of global survey. So employability skills rate 78% in your global selection of engineers or technical managers or in any place. So you see, and in certain cases, its rating went beyond 80 or 85%. Then positive attitude, 73%. Relevant work experience, 54%. Degree subjects, 41%. And degree results like CGPA, 2 to 28%, and university attended. It is LUM versus Hijveri universities versus NUST versus UET. It has only 8%. And I would like to mention you, certain multinationals of Pakistan has banned one of the biggest and the famous and most expensive business school of Pakistan. I would not name that because to them, their graduates do not have requisite employability skills. They are more arrogant with negative attitude and with catching attitude and with blaming attitude. So they banned the business graduate of a certain ex-University of Lahore, I would not mention. And foreign language capability has only 2% weightage. This is what is the global trend. This second picture shows the availability of employees. IT skill, they only possess 49% of the good graduates. And then application of numbers to the decision-making process, 30%. Teamwork, 19%. Only 19% of the global graduates possesses teamwork. But now they also make groups, Gujarat group, Mianwali group, and Lahore, all those, the Peshawar group and Pakhtun group and Saraiki group, and they don't work in teams. Team working is a rare phenomenon in South Asian culture. Teamwork means only grouping by language, by religion, by sect, or by race. These are the four groups common in South Asian culture. Allow me to submit this fact. This is my 30 years experience. Their problem solving skills are only 16%. This is the reason bosses are overbooked, because the lower middle level, they lack problem solving and team building skills. Communication and literacy 31%, and self-management 14%, and business and customer awareness, handling customer, is only 8%. And they normally fight with the customer as opposed to delight with the customer. That is another sad thing. And I would like to volunteer next webinar to Mr. Tahir Naam, customer handling in technical environment. I have been teaching to NESPAC and Engineering Council since last 8 years this topic. Customer handling is the most ignored part in our technical concern, and at times we lose tens of millions of dollars of business because of poor customer handling. Or customer handling is also an integral part of employability skill, but today, because of shortage of time, I will not throw the light. I will focus on the attitude and to some extent communication and leadership. So business don't create value, people do. Yaad rakhiye. Remember this thing. People are the core, what you call soft component of the organization. In the good olden days, 50 or 60 years ago, 80% of the organization assets are computer and infrastructure and machinery. Now 80% of the assets are now human beings. The pyramid has reversed in the last 50 years. So we must focus on the employees and their skills. And from today onward, I encourage all of you to spend more time, invest more money on the soft skills or employability skill of your team players. So I mentioned very oftenly one word, we call it soft skills. What is soft skills? If we quickly review in brief what is soft skills. Soft skill is not talking with soft language or soft tone or soft attitude. It is a composed set of skill sets which helps you and required and expected from persons for finding a suitable job. It's maintenance and promotion. You cannot get promotion, you cannot get hired, and you cannot maintain or sustain or retain any job without soft skills. Soft skills are more to emotional intelligence and are natural abilities that help us to interact with each other. So soft skills are opposite to the hard skills, which are usually job-related skills learned through education or training. I mean, learning the Primavera software for a civil engineer is a hard skill, but using the Primavera in the team environment without shouting in a more conducive and congenial manner is part of your soft skill. And at times we miss that soft skill. And as I mentioned earlier, the engineers in South Asia, as they grow, they think the senior is engineer and I know everything. And they lose temper on a very short note, and thereby they start destroying the team. And team building element is again given the less importance in South Asian culture. This is not the problem of Pakistan. Thank God, this is a problem of India, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and to some extent Central Asian state as well, because they are not exposed to the global work environment and global work norms, which focus more on team building, care, love, and respect. Now, quickly have a quick comparison, second comparison of hard skill versus soft skills. Hard skill, as you see, that are learned to perform in any specific job function, and soft skills are less tangible, they are not visible, and more associated with one's traits or personality that determines how we interact. So interpersonal skills, soft spoken, care, love, desire to excel, and above all, self-motivation and team building and how to motivate your team is integral part of soft skill. Mostly about how you act, react, and interact. Act, react, and interact. That is soft skill. And I can give you one example. One of my bosses in Islamabad, he worked 37 years in USA, especially in the AT&T. AT&T is one of the biggest telephone company of USA. He told me that using the soft skills and interpersonal skills, he raised the productivity of newly raised software house of AT&T in one part of USA, 100 times more than what were expected. And their share, which was initially traded in the Wall Street, $10 a share, rose to $70 per share because of extraordinary profit. And Mr. Ali Haider is a UT graduate. He worked there and he told me the story that I relied mostly as a software house chief, party chief, mostly on the soft skill, thereby creating more motivation and more enthusiasm in the team. And he used the team playing deliberate engineered effort, thereby raising the productivity 100 times more what were expected from the AT&T founders at that time. So soft skills, as I mentioned earlier, are given low importance in countries like Pakistan because this is a second or third generation after losing the so-called yoke of slavery. We got independence since 47 and the 75 is the second or third generation. In sixth or seventh generation, we will get more exposure, we will get more education, and we will get more tolerance, more patience, and more perseverance, and more understanding, and better understanding to the employability skills and soft skills. Both skills complement each other. That is a good thing. Both skills complement each other. They are not mutually exclusive, that one cannot coexist with the presence of both. Both can coexist and both complement to each other. And according to one of the surveys, 77% of employers believe that soft skills are just as important as hard skills. I'm talking about the West. The South Asian culture is still primitive and could not progress because of these old paradigms and following the old thoughts or classical school of thought that only with the element of fear and with the element of harassment we can get the desired results. And almost 20% said they were more important than hard skills. And as you see that 1/5 of the recipient of the survey, global survey, rather informed that soft skills are more important than the hard skills. You can find any Tom, Dick, and Larry with 4.0 GPA in civil, mechanical, or electrical engineering, but you can hardly get any decent, composed, emotionally balanced person with good communication and writing skills and with positive tone and can-do attitude in the market. If that person is available, his or her market pay would be 3 to 4, maybe 5 times more. I can assure you. I recently hired one professor 3 times more than what we used to pay. This is not because he's foreign graduate. This is because he's composed and willing to add value and create difference in my university. So in universities, vice chancellors and professors are not treated because of their high-tech universities or publications, but because of their employability skills or team building skills or students handling skills. Now I add more value, more focus on the customer or student handling skills. That is very important skill. So this is a long list of soft skills. And through the courtesy of Honorable Mr. Tahir Sultan, I would love to add all those slides to you so that you can revisit my thoughts. Critical thinking is one of the soft skills, listening skills, then research skills, assertiveness, attentiveness, perseverance, being responsible, attention to details, ability to motivate others, time management skills, personal accountability, showing commitment and interest to the problem of less fortunate people, working under pressure, working well under pressure. These are all a long list of soft skills. Obviously, I cannot even read all those because of shortage of time. But what can I do is I would love to share these with through the courtesy of Civil Engineering Society. So that if you kindly place those slides for global benefit on your Facebook or your website, I would appreciate. Yes, there's no copyright. There's no copyright. I don't believe on intellectual property right. This is public right. So as I mentioned earlier, to handle the interpersonal relationships, soft skills are very important. VC Punjab University or VC UET is not selected on the basis of his publication, rather his leadership style, whether he or she can handle the students' mob or public reaction, or he or she is a good decision maker, fast decision maker, he or she is having strong interpersonal skills or not. We have interpersonal skills. Just get one telecost from London against one of the biggest institutions of Pakistan. The reaction was mild, not extreme. So that shows the strength of interpersonal skill of one institutional head versus one politician. Just one example. And as you grow higher in the ladder, remember one thing: your strength is your core strength is your interpersonal skills, your communication skills, your composed behavior, and above all, your smiling and can-do attitude. When some student come to me with some problem, I asked from my staff. They told me, they often say this cannot be done. I said, why cannot be done? Try to find some in-between solution. At the end of the day, we always try to find and always found some in-between or midway solution. And through that midway solution, we give satisfaction to the students. That is my way of doing or handling the students, or through using the a good communication skill or through listening to them. So high emotional quotient boost career success, enterprising spirit or potential, leadership and talent, health, relationship, satisfaction, humor, and happiness. I would like to mention one thing. It is not what happened to you, it is how you react to any natural accident or incident. That reaction changes personality A to personality B to personality C. That reaction creates difference. This is your reaction to normal thing to make you negative or positive. So your reaction to any natural occurrence or natural incident defines your personality and define your EQ. So the survey of job seekers, HR professionals, 43% said cultural fit, single most important determining factor when making a new hire. Now I can give you cultural fit. Any person from maybe remote area of interior Sindh, maybe remote area of Balochistan, maybe remote area of southern Punjab, maybe from Fata, may not be, could not be in very first day placed in the middle order place in the high-tech software company. I am just give you one crude example. Because they do not have the exposure to work in that environment, because they are not exposed to the unique work culture and the soft requirement, manners and etiquettes, and dress requirement of that very organization, despite all long sequence of training. So culture cannot be learned in one day. So placing your worker in your unique culture is another problem which you might be facing, and making your team as more flexible to adopt in a culture is one of the biggest strengths one can give to the subordinate. So the first most important employability skill is winning and can-do attitude. Positive attitude, can-do attitude, and smiling attitude, and is all traits of winning attitude. Winning attitude, the person possesses these attitude has strong potential to rise in the life. Before I start, give the example, rather I should first explain this famous iceberg phenomena. The famous English movie you might have seen 20 years ago, Titanic. Titanic, captain said, this is a small iceberg and the propeller of Titanic is strong enough to break the iceberg. But the base of iceberg, which is 90% not visible, was so rigid that has dismantled the invincible historic Titanic, the pride of UK, into two pieces. Likewise, a rigid attitude breaks the organization and breaks the personality. With this preamble, we go to the next slide. Only 10% of any iceberg is visible, the remaining 90% is below the sea level. We already know this, right? 10% is visible above sea level, 90% invisible, as we have seen. And likewise, my behavior, you can judge only 10% of my traits through my behavior, through my dress, through my my sitting, my smiling attitude, or my face and my dress. You can judge only 10%. This behavior is called in Urdu saluk. मेरे सलूक से सिर्फ 10%, only 10% you can guess about my personality. But through my attitude, you can see 90% of my traits. 90% of my traits. Give me 1 minute on that. And these 6 traits are integral part of attitude. These 6 traits which defines my attitude is my set of values, meri akhlaqi iqdar, my standards. My standards are below, my standards are high, my standards are above, well above average or outstanding. Those defines my personality, whether I'm mediocre or I am a perfectionist. These standards reshape my personality. And my judgmental attitude, मैं हर एक को 2 नंबर डिक्लेयर कर देता हूँ, हर एक को काफर मुशरिक और हर एक को जहन्नमी. That is my judgmental attitude. And the 4th component or determinant of attitude is motive, muharrik. If my motive is selfish, I may not be at value. I will be my personality focused or self-centered. If my motive is for community, I would rise beyond the level and I may become the Abdul Sataridi or Mother Teresa, or maybe what you call Nelson Mandela or Mahathir Mohamad. They have strong ambitions, clear motive for the society, not for themselves. They have the strong work ethics. If my work ethics are good, my attitude could be attributed as a positive. And my belief, my self-belief. If my self-belief is strong, there's a famous statement in English: whatever human being can conceive and believe, he or she can achieve. If my self-belief is that I can do this, I will do that, I shall do that. So self-belief is the most potent weapon of mass construction. Self-belief is most potent weapon of mass construction. And these 6 component or determinants shape, de-shape or reshape my attitude and your attitude, the attitude of the employee. And those 6 component makes 90% of my personality and your personality. After having said this, let me see the impact of these 6 on the behavior of my personality. Behavior is manifestation of attitude. Remember one thing, behavior is manifestation of attitude, and attitude is being formed with these 6 components which I explained earlier. That is values, standards, judgment, motive, ethics, and beliefs. And for beliefs, I restate my statement again, the statement of Napoleon Hill: whatever human being can conceive and he or she believes, he or she can achieve. Now, this is the iceberg phenomena for attitude. Attitude is being shaped and determined by these factors I explained earlier. Now, let me explain the benefit of or drawbacks of positive or negative attitude. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. छोटी चीजें बड़ा फर्क लाती है. इंसान को लफ्ज नहीं रवैये मार देते हैं. Human being is not killed by the words, but because of attitude. Cold attitude. So सर्द रवैया मार गया मुझे. You must have listened this word. Attitude changes anything, everything. Attitude changes anything, everything. 80% of success is related to attitude rather than competency. A strange revolution. अजीबोगरीब सा इंकशाफ कर रहा हूँ आज मैं. Now allow me. Now wait for 1 minute. I would like to utter a very finding of a very good study in the USA. Around 45 years ago in USA, a university has conducted the study. They took the data of 3,000 successful professionals who rose above the normal, become the abnormal, not abnormal, but extraordinary successful in life. Through that data, they have concluded that what is the most contributory factor in their life which made them successful. And across the board, they found one unique common thing, and that is positive attitude, can-do attitude, smiling attitude, willing attitude. That was the finding of that study. And remaining 20% is where they were born, what they got inheritance, whether they got the PhD from USA or Pakistan or not, whether they got the opportunity to rise. उनका भी जो प्राइस बॉन्ड 500 रुपए का निकल गया 50 लाख का कि नहीं, that only maintain only 20% of the success. Remaining 80% contributory factor towards success was his or her positive and can-do attitude. Now I am using time and again word can-do attitude. Can-do attitude means yes, it could be done, not by me alone, with the help of someone. Not today, maybe tomorrow, not fully, maybe partially, but it could be done. That is can-do attitude. With can-do attitude, we can create wonders, and amazing results come and emerge from the ordinary persons with a can-do attitude. Now, this was the part of first study. The same university conducted another study after 30 years of gap. They took the new data set of 2,000 or 3,000 most successful professionals from US and from the Western world and carried out in-depth analysis. What is the most important significant contributory factor towards that success of those professionals? And you will be amazed this time. Again, attitude came and emerged as the most important, vital, and potent contributory factor, number one. But this time, to their surprise, the factor rose from 80% to 91%. Now, 91% factor is part of our success. Our success is possible because of attitude, and role of attitude is 91% in my success and your success. That is a finding of latest research conducted around 20 years ago. So now you should focus from today onward on the positive attitude of your team, yourself, your family, your sons, your daughters, your spouse, your brother and sisters. Try to add element of positivity in their thought process. Try to add element of can-do and smiling attitude, which is, so winning attitude is a composition of can-do attitude, positive attitude, smiling attitude, and helping attitude, not blaming attitude, rather blessing attitude. ये 5 चीजों का इस्तेमाल, the combination of these 5 things makes it winning attitude. And your team, you select your team based upon your winning attitude, and you should focus on this winning attitude. Even as a Uber driver, today I came to the Uber to my university, and he lost the directions, and then he lost the cancellation order from the Uber. Amazing things were happening today because of software errors. When he gave my display here, he was very composed, and he was listening very carefully and tendering his apology. His willing and can-do attitude and helping attitude impressed me so much that I took his number and I told him that I would take you to the Islamabad and other cities whenever I go. You are a very caring professional and you impressed me from the heart. This is one example of can-do and willing attitude in everyday life. So you can have a positive attitude without talent, and you can have talent without a positive attitude. But in the offices, your promotion, your progress, your prosperity, and your personality really start moving up only and only when you have a positive attitude combined with that talent. Talent in the absence of positive attitude is a garbage. Remember one thing. Shaitan has been a follower of Allah Ta'ala, and he was one of the very pious follower. And for 1,80,000 years, 1.8 million years, he offered the prayers to the God. He was from Jannat, but he becomes so close to Allah Ta'ala, the God, that God has elevated and gives his name, positive name in 7 different skies, different name. For example, one name could be Zahid, some could be Wali, and some could be Muttaqi, and so forth. But when he becomes negative, When he become arrogant, nature has not multiplied him with 0 but 1 because of negativity. Likewise, the uncle of Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his name was Abu Lahab. At the time of birth of Holy Prophet, he becomes so excited and so pleased and delighted. While in the excitement, he released and gave freedom to his many of his what you call slaves. But when he become negative Abu Lahab, nature has condemned him in the Holy Quran by name. Abu Lahab, Tabbat yada Abu Lahab, Tabbat yada Abu Lahabim wa tab maghna nahu malahu wa ma kasab. That bad man Abu Lahab was killed and destroyed and damaged his personality, and he could not save his personality, and all his money was destroyed, and nobody could save him. And to the best of my understanding, it is because of his negative attitude. He was spoiling and damaging and uttering negative words and creating hurdle for the smooth, positive message of Islam, Deen-e-Mateen Islam. So positive attitude in combination with talent create wonders. So your attitude determines your altitude. Your promotion, your prosperity in the life is dependent upon your attitude. Caring, positive, cooperative, blessing, and can-do attitude. So my suggestion would be think positive, act positive, stay positive, and train your mind to see the good in everything, every situation. इस बातचीत को भी सुने जो आप खुद से करते हैं, हमेशा ख्याल रखेंगे इसमें मुस्बत सोच, उम्मीद, एतमाद और कामयाबी देने वाले अल्फाज हैं. Whenever you are indulged into the self-talk, always talk positive with yourself. Do not talk negative. Always use words like hope, victory, and success. Never use words like defeat, failure, problem, or hurdle. Even in the difficulty, you find the opportunity. Even in the difficulty, you find the opportunity. In the corona, we find the opportunity, and now we are giving these webinar on the computer, on the online. That is, we are saving time. So there are a couple of dimensions of attitude. I would like to mention some of them only because of shortage of time. First is judgmental attitude. You give verdict to anybody without listening himself or herself and showing yourself that you are beyond the blame or beyond the, you are perfect or foolproof. हम अपनी गलतियों के बेहतरीन वकील और दूसरों की गलतियों के बेहतरीन जज होते हैं. We are the best lawyer to our mistakes, and we are the best judge to the mistakes of others. Judging another person does not define who they are. It defines who you are. And stop judging others. Message is stop judging others. Famous statement of Ashfaq Ahmed of Model Town, Lahore. He said, हमारे अपने गिरबान में सांप और बिच्छू लटक रहे हैं, हम दूसरों की मक्खियां बन. We have dangerous reptile within ourselves, and we are trying to identify the flies sitting on the other persons. Catching and complaining attitude is the second kind of attitude which is detrimental for the employability skills. Employability skills in the presence of complaining or catching attitude cannot coexist. सबसे काबिलियत नफरत वो शख्स है जो दूसरों में तलाश करता है और बड़ों की गलतियां पकड़ के छोटा शख्स छोटा ही रहता है. The worst of our fault is our interest in others people's fault. The statement of Hazrat Ali ibn Abi Talib, I repeat this statement, very $1 million statement. The worst of our fault is our interest in others people's fault. Hazrat Ali से किसी ने पूछा, someone asked Hazrat Ali, when man become bad, he replied, when he starts thinking himself the big, he start becoming bad. इंसान बुरा कब बनता है? जब अपने आप को अच्छा समझने लग जाता है. ये तर्जमा मैंने किया इंग्लिश में. और तकब्बुर, arrogant attitude is another very famous and root form of attitude in which people do not care. They talk arrogantly, they misbehave, and they show disrespect to the person standing in front of you. They do not care with the age and gray hairs of the person standing in front of them. So that arrogancy is nothing but logical outcome of ego, and ego is nothing but it is a disease which spoils and damages everything, anything. I recall the famous statement of famous verse of Faiz Ahmad Faiz. He said, and I quote in Urdu, then I will translate in English. कुर्ब के न वफा के होते हैं, कुर्ब के न वफा के होते हैं, झगड़े सारे अना के होते. All issues are not, all problems are not because of money or a relationship or do not meet me or something like that, but it is all because of ego. Ego is the worst enemy, and if we keep on feeding the inner growth and your professional growth and professional. So my request from today onward to this forum could be and would be, stop watering the Buddha of or plant of ego. Start watering the plant of ego. What will be the benefit? The benefit is your success, your eternal success, long-term growth, long-term prosperity, khushhali, shadmani, kamran. Second most important feature in the interpersonal skills or life skills or soft skill or employability skill is your communication. As I mentioned, as mentioned by Mr. Tahir Sultan, that communication has been covered in great extent. I will try to focus only for a few minutes on this topic. That is communication. I'm trying to focus from different perspective, not from the traditional perspective. I'm starting with a few famous statements in Urdu, which I'm not reading to save time, but you can read this. No matter what job you have in life, your success will be determined 5% by your academic credentials, MSc, PhD, and BSc engineering. Only 5% has its contribution. 15% by your professional experience. 15% is your experience in concrete making or mixer and roof deployment or whatever, and 80% by your communication skills. Holy Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Moses or Hazrat Musa alayhi Islam, in the Quran Pak, there's a famous verse or even prayer from him to Allah, which I'm going to explain in a few minutes. He raised his hand and requested Allah Ta'ala, the God, to give him strength in the communication skill. I'm going to explain in a few minutes. So before we start the importance of communication, I will start the importance of words in communication. Our real identity is our words. Meri shnakht is my words. Those people who has a lot many things, but they always select few words to explain their point of view. Zubane shiri mulk giri, मीठे बोल में जादू है. अल्फाज चार चाबियों की माने तन का सही इस्तेमाल करके लोगों के मुंह बंद या दिल खोले जा सकते हैं. Your selection of words is like keys, and you can open the heart of the people sitting in front of you, working under your command or working under your office. You can give them pleasure through positive selection of words, and you can open their heart, and you can win their heart, and you can win their soul by a proper selection of words. So I can now give you one famous statement, which I always give every platform. Never use negative words, always use positive words, because when you use positive words, it ray hope engulfs person standing in front of you, thereby raising his energy level. So words and energy, use them in your favor. Words and energy, use them in your favor. Always use positive words. What are positive words? Those are success, victory, hope, light, and opportunity. These 5 words are words of positivity. So what are negative words? Failure, defeat, hurdle, problem, roadblocks, and difficulty. Never use these words in your life very oftenly. Use them seldomly and try to use their equivalents or synonym. Do not use these words. People get disappointed. And start a ray of hopelessness starts in the offices, thereby diminishing their energy level, thereby reducing their energy level. So your core job is to enhance energy level of the team. That is your core job. Even in the state of disappointment, if you are jobless, for example, do not say I'm jobless. Just say I'm trying to find some good opportunity to rise further. Never use these words, the glass is half empty. Always say glass is half full. Never say these words like glass is half empty. Students are not yet arrived, only 50% arrived. Rather say 50% of the class is full and we are likely to get more very soon. So these selection of words, what you call, give you very positive image in your group of circles or in your colleagues, associate, peers, and your superiors, and they consider you a positive person. गुफ्तगू कीजिए मगर जरा एहतियात के साथ, लोग मर भी जाते हैं अल्फाज के साथ. We should be very selective in selection of words. People die because of selection of words. The language has no bones, the tongue has no bones, but it's strong enough to break a heart. So be careful with your words. So I try to focus the importance of word in everyday communication, and communication is having the major share in employability skill. The second most important factor in the communication part of employability skill is role of tone in effective communication. That is लहजा. So लहजे की सख्ती दिल की सख्ती से मुंसलिक है. दिल की सख्ती अल्लाह से दूरी की दलील है. जो अल्लाह का मुकर्रब है वो मखलूक का मुकर्रब नहीं हो सकता. जो अल्लाह का मुकर्रब नहीं वो मखलूक का मुकर्रब नहीं हो सकता. Mukarrab means the person who is close to heart. He should be very fair and soft in uttering the good words. You see, 10% of conflict in human beings in the offices is because of technical reasons, and 90% is because of lehja or tone. That is very, very amazing secret I'm revealing today. 90% of the differences amongst people happens because of lehja, because of tone. And there's a famous verse in Urdu which I'm going to explain in few minutes. अल्फाज से बात समझ में आती है, लहजे से दिल में उतर जाती है. जादू अल्फाज में नहीं लहजे में होता है. Famous statement of Mushtaq Ahmed Yusfi, the best Urdu writer. He says the wonders is not lying in the words alone, it is in the tone. It is the miracle happens because of tone. The mother, when she talks very positively with soft tone with his daughter or son who is young, lying on the bed with fever, because of the tone of the mother, at times you see the respective boy or daughter started improving, or his fever or her fever starts diminishing or reducing, only because of tone of the word of mother. This is happening every day. अक्सर औकात सच कड़वा नहीं होता, सच बोलने का अंदाज कड़वा होता है. हम सच बोलने के साथ साथ दूसरे को जलील कर रहे होते हैं, तो रखते हैं कि हमारी जलील करने की हरकतों से सच ही समझा जाएगा. This is the famous statement of Banu Qudsiya, and I would like to translate in English. At times, always truth is not very, very what you call poisonous, but the style of uttering the truth is very poisonous, very harming and damaging to the person sitting in front.
मेरी वीडियो शो हो रही है, चेक कर
participant. The truth, but we try to belittle and to ridicule the person standing in front of us, and we expect that this effort of us, which is basically trying to belittle person in front of us, should be considered as uttering the truth. That is not the truth. So importance is for the words, but effectiveness comes from the tone. अहमियत अल्फाज की होती है, मगर असर हमेशा लहजों का होता है. When some person wants to leave you, their behavior and the way and tone of the voice starts changing. जब किसी ने आपको छोड़ना होगा तो सबसे पहले बोलने का अंदाज बदलेगा. दिलों पर लफ्ज नहीं लहजे असर करते हैं. And 10% of conflict is due to the difference of opinion, and 90% due to the word tone of the voice. Tone of the voice has very important. Even there's a famous surah ayah in Quran Pak, Surah Hajrat, in which God has encouraged, rather asked us, do not talk louder than talk of the Holy Prophet, else you will spoil or waste all of your positive traits in your life. तो आपकी तमाम नेकियां जाया हो जाएंगी, आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा. So tone of the voice and the pitch of the voice should be very clear, soft and loving and caring and respectful. This is a statement of Hazrat Ali alayhi salam. परिंदे अपने पाँव और इंसान अपने जुबान की वजह से जाल में फंसते हैं. गुफ्तगू में नरमी इख्तियार करो क्योंकि लहजों का असर अल्फाज से ज्यादा होता है. लहजा लफ्ज का डीएनए है जिससे नजर का फतूर, नियत का खोट और दिल का चोर पकड़ सकता है. Tone is the DNA of a word because of which you can catch the negativity of the person and what is behind his intention. You can catch from the, you can read from the tone. This is the extempore translation of these two statements. हर कोई मारने के लिए पत्थर नहीं उठाता, कुछ लोग ये काम लहजों से भी कर लेते हैं. And the last statement on the importance of tone in the communication. Tone is very important in the communication, and communication has major play a role in the employability skill. And the last statement in the communication side, then we will switch to the other traits. This is the famous verse in Urdu. एक बात बहुत तलक कही थी उसने, बात तो याद नहीं, याद है लहजा उसका. She or he uttered a very crude or what you call poisonous word about me. I do not recall that word or statement, but I still remember the negativity behind the tone of his voice or his statement or sentence. This is a translation of in Urdu, in English, those who cannot understand Urdu from global. And the last component of communication is listening. Listening is the most important and vital part of communication skill. As you rise in the ladder to the next level, your listening skill increase to 10% more, 5% more, 20% more. The higher you go, the more better listener you should be. One of the most sincere form of respect is actually listening to what another has to say. Deep listening from the heart is one part of communication, and speaking from the heart is another part. And listening is Sunnat Ampiya. I recall one of the incident happened with Holy Prophet. He was standing in front of Masjid al-Nabawi, and one insane and mad old lady stopped him and started narrating his story. He kept on listening for a long time. When he returned back to Masjid al-Nabawi, he was full of sweat. Sahaba Ikram Razulullah anhu said, do you know she was insane and mad and she was not mentally fit? Holy Prophet says, yes, I know, but if I do not listen, who will listen her? So from this, we conclude and deduce it is even Sunnah Nabi to listen to the less fortunate, even to the mentally retarded people. Those who are mentally sick, we must listen to them. This is a Sunnah. So speaking from the heart is one half, and deep listening from the heart is another half. When you talk, you are only repeating what you already know. But when you listen, you may learn something new, something different, something more important. So importance of listening is very obvious, and listening is the way. Listening is the beginning of all progress. Advice from my father: talk less and listen more. We have only one tongue and 2 ears. So we must listen twice as we talk every day. Be a good listener. Your ears will never get you in trouble. When people talk, listen completely. Most people never listen. Ernest Hemingway said this, a Nobel Prize winner. 1954, he got Nobel Prize in his book, Old Man and the Sea. Ernest Hemingway, person from Latin America. He says, and I quote, when people talk, listen completely. Most people never listen. And listening is a magnetic and strange thing, a creative force. So start focusing more from today on the listening part. When you are angry, be silent. The statement of Hadith Pak. मजाक जरूर कीजिए, मगर ध्यान रखिए कि मजाक करने में, मजाक उड़ाने में फर्क आपको मालूम हो. You may start giving some what you call some joke, but you should be clear. Throwing a joke and Giving someone or ridiculing someone is different. Ridiculing someone is different than throwing a joke. And this is the famous prayer of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. He says, and I quote in Urdu, "Oh God, open my heart and make my things, difficult things, more easier, and give me more communication power so that people can listen and understand my talk." This is the easy translation of Surah Taha, the famous prayer of Hazrat Musa. This shows the importance of communication in the eyes of God, in the eyes of the great prophets of the God. They are even showing the importance of communication in everyday life. So communication skills can make or break any organization. इन वो शजर है जो दिल में उगता है और जुबान पर फल देता है. Example of communication skills. You see, these are the all communication skill examples you are seeing here on the video. Now, the drawback in communication: on every layer when you communicate, 20 to 15% filter and change its direction, dimension, and meanings. For example, in the first layer, when you utter, only 87% is transmitted to the second layer. On the third layer, 56% is understood. On the fourth layer, 40% is understood. On the fifth layer, and you only understand 20% of what is actually said and told and uttered. So be careful whenever you want to convey someone, either convey in writing, through the internet, through the WhatsApp. When you talk improperly through improper channel, people will understand different, and something when it goes to the 6th or 7th level, message become altogether different. So this should be very, very clear and very, very obvious to you. On the 30th Surah of Quran Pak, I am taking the honor to recite one ayah, "Wailul likulli hummaza lummaza." हर ऐसे शख्स के लिए बड़ी खराबी है जो ऐब निकालने वाला और ताना देने वाला. So we spoil the relationship, we spoil the team members. People start quitting the organizations. People start tendering the organization, resignation in the organization because of this fact that they are ridiculed or they are being abused or being in their languages or tana dene wala element jo hai. And one of the famous hadith se mubaraka, नरम बात कहना और माफ कर देना इस सदके से बेहतर है जिसके बाद ईजा आसानी हो और अल्लाह ताला बेनियाज और बुर्दबार है. नरम बात कहना, माफ कर देने की इंपॉर्टेंस अल्लाह ताला ने फिर एक्सप्लेन की है. Another second hadith है पाक on communication. You see the importance of communication skills in the Islam. मैं तुम्हें ऐसे आदमी की पहचान बताता हूँ जिस पर जहन्नम की आग हराम है, वो आग पर हराम है. ये वो आदमी है जो नरम मिजाज हो, नरम तबीयत हो, नरमी से बात करने वाला. And there are 10 commandments mostly on the communication in Surah Hajrat by the God, and I try to simply translate in English. Never try to ridicule. Do not expose the damages or abs or negative aspects of any personality. Do not give bad name to anybody. बुरे लक़ब से मत बुलाओ, बदगुमानी से बचो, and always consult each other. And tajassus mat karo. Do not see what else is, who else is doing what, and kisi pe tohmat mat lagao. Do not place any baseless allegation to anybody. Zaat par fakhr mat karo. Do not take pride in your husbandness or your race. Quran Pak mein Allah Ta'ala ne, nature has given another good statement or saying in Quran Pak. अपनी आवाज को धीमा रखो क्योंकि बदतरीन आवाज को तुम किया. You should talk softer in the low tone. This is the order of Allah Ta'ala in Quran Pak. Now we have discussed two most important part of employability skill. The third is flexibility. Flexibility is antithesis of rigidity. This is the third trait, most important trait we should have in our team, in our personality. Adopt successfully to changing situation and environment. You might have observed when you find the storm at a speed of maybe 200 kilometers per hour, all big, strong trees fell down, but the small plant which bend themselves with the speed of velocity of wind. They are composed and they are safe. This is because of their flexibility to blow down or go down. So flexibility is energy. And there's a famous statement of Hazrat Ali कि हर मुकाम पे जिंदगी के हर मोड़ पे झुकना सीखो क्योंकि जिंदा इंसान हमेशा झुकते हैं अगर ना सिर्फ मुर्दे की पहचान है. The fourth point in the employability skill is initiative and enterprising skills. Good person with good employability skill must have strong initiative and must have good enterprising skills for new ideas. He should be able to give new idea for business, even the difficult times, to make more money. Zoom company had made more money in Corona because of the fact that their product were being purchased across the globe, and they took the initiative and they diversified the nature of their facilities and software capabilities. So in the hard times, people with good initiatives, with good ideas, with enterprising skills make more money. Even the Amazon made 3 or 4 times more money in Corona crisis, and they sold their online products, and made more money. Likewise, I met one of the Uber driver. I asked him, "You might be jobless in the crisis of Corona." He said, "No, I made more money." I asked how. He said, "I start taking the families from Lahore to Pindi on motorway, and I was making 2 to 3 times more every day, because at that time Uber at that time all those intercity travel was banned and only private cars were allowed. So I made 3 times more money." I'm talking about the Uber driver. So those people with the enterprising mind and initiative, they are very much sought after, very much demanded by the big bosses, and appreciated and given raise and given encouragement and given promotion, early promotion or accelerated promotion, because of their interest and initiative and enterprising skills. The fourth is planning and organization. So people with good employability skills are good planner and organizers. They always have plan B and plan C and plan D. For example, in Ghazwa Khandak, you might be knowing, the Muslims at that time were having very less number of people, very less ammunitions and weapons to fight, and horses and swords. So a new initiative and new strategy was designed and devised by the Holy Prophet under the suggestion of one of his Sahaba Karam. And that new initiative was taken, and new defense doctrine was coined by the suggestion given by the Hazrat Salman Farsi. And that was another example of consultative decision making. That is another good part of leadership trait, that is consultation with the team. So those employability skills, people having the good employability skills in the leadership traits, they also do believe in the consultation of the team. And that signifies and magnifies and visible from the Riyasat Madina, jisko Imran Khan aksar korte hain, Riyasat Madina. You find every good employability skill from the Sunnah Taiba and Riyasat Madina. And Ghazwa Khandak, the example of digging a big ditch, a new form of defense doctrine, was not common in the Arab Empire at that time. But that was well planned 2 or 3 months ago, before Kuffar Makkah attacked, and they were surprised. So put your plan into action. That was the message in the 5th or 4th employability skill. Time management is the most important employability skill. We must be able to give priority to our things to do skills. What normal good people or professional people do is they make a ready reckoner or things to do skill in the morning, and they prioritize priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, and they do not take or waste times in the long meetings and long talks or long discussions or long chat and Facebook replies. They do not waste time. They prioritize their time, and time management skill is the most important skill. You see, the president of USA has 8 to 10 hours, but he manages the entire globe, and still he can manage to set the useless and rubbish tweets every day. Negative and counter propaganda against community and white racism, all those garbage he does everything. So he manages time. So President of USA can do, we can do. So time management is a full-fledged skill, and it is a 2 days training. And I can volunteer again in 2 or 3 months to Mr. Tahir Sultan साहब कि टाइम मैनेजमेंट पे 2 से 3 घंटे की मैं ट्रेनिंग भी दे सकता हूँ. और अभी तो टाइम मेरे पास इतना नहीं कि मैं टाइम को बहुत मुश्किल मैनेज कर रहा हूँ. ये भी the sixth most important thing is teamwork. Team building skill is only 10 to 10% in the South Asian culture, maybe less than that. And we do not invest time into team building skills. The good companies in Pakistan, they take their team to the dinners, parties, they encourage them. They go to the walk, talk, and they have occasional meetings, light tone. They chat and they find excuses to celebrate the success of their team. So teamwork is a full-fledged mission, and the boss of big boss is not to allocate resources alone. The job of big boss is not to select the team, but also to make effort to retain that team and make 1 + 1 = 11. Teamwork is nothing but synergy, but team synergy. Team synergy is 1 + 1 = 11. So concept of team building is very much ignored in South Asian culture. I always take, I always take negative feelings about the team building efforts of our big bosses in the offices. The concept of team building in the public sector is non-existent. Non-existent. Big boss is senior and big boss is Pathar pe Lakir, and he is son of a Akle Saleen ka Hamil and so forth. So try to focus more from today in the team building. And this is again 2 days course I normally offer on the Engineering Council platform after every 6 or 7 months. And team building is the job of top management, and they take corrective measures through incorporation of team spirit by creating a new kind of culture. They invest more. Basha Salamat culture or Mughal Azam culture is a depth of team building. जिसको मुगल आज़म कल्चर हमारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर होता है ना अक्सर पेशतर. So that is depth of team building. Musawat Mohammadi culture, the culture of Musawat Mohammadi is ideal for team building. Where Mahmoud or Yaz, you find sprinkling the water on the same pan of the same place. A group of people making together towards a common goal. Teamwork skills contribute to productive workforce and far greater outcomes. Seventh things in the employability skill is commercial awareness. Understand the commercial realities affecting the organization. How we can translate existing trends into a good business, great business idea to encash from that opportunity. Initiative enterprising skills contribute to that. Then self-motivation of the worker. This is the eighth most important component of any employability skill. Able to act on initiative, identify opportunities, and proactive in putting forward ideas and solutions. Self-motivation is nothing but a desire to do something unique, different, with more positive action, both positive energy and a goal-directed behavior is a logical outcome of self-motivation. Self-motivation is a compelling force, which makes ordinary person extraordinary, which gives you extra energy, which gives you extra determination. So we must spend more time on ways to find the ways how to motivate your team and how to motivate yourself. I have a couple of videos on YouTube free of cost. You can download on any of my videos from Facebook, YouTube on these topics if you want to learn more. And I'm also volunteering to Honorable Tahir Sultan Sahab. If you need one exclusive session on self-motivation, I can volunteer in the next couple of months. The eighth most important employability skill is self-management or self-discipline. Of South Asian culture, it is very difficult to manage yourself. Students are lethargic. When they become graduate, they do not possess the requisite professional skills. And when they do not have the requisite professional skills, the boss become fed up and they start firing. At times, 80% of the employees in any organization of Pakistan, to my understanding, so the employees are fired because of poor work ethics, poor attitude, and poor self-management or poor self-discipline or poor self-motivation. These are factors. This is the fourth factor because of which I fire 80% of my employees in my organization. That is, they are not well organized. They do not manage themselves, number one. They do not have self-motivation. They are not willing worker. They are not self-starter. They are the car-starter. और तीसरा है कि they are not having the positive attitude. चौथा है they are not team players. Team में से चलते नहीं. They do not move along the team. They make dead end kill at the masjid. They make their separate island of excellence, and they do not take the team. And they always they have the catching attitude. They have the saddest attitude. And they do not go along the team, and they score the team, and boss is frustrated, and the thing stops moving. So self-management skills contribute to employee satisfaction and growth. Yeah, Janab, this is, you see, self-management skill examples are actions, behavior. They set goals, they have the positive attitude, they have the requisite skills for conflict resolution, they are team builders, and they have positive behavior. Behavior is manifestation of attitude, as I mentioned earlier. And they took fast action. They always have plan B and C. They do not have the excuses not to work. They have the excuses to work. They are the solution provider. They are not the excuser. They always do not give the excuses. Analyzing and investigating is your eighth trait. And these people, they have the strong critical thinking and analytical thinking. There are 1 day's workshop, 2 days workshop available in the market, and you should engage your staff, yourself and your team on the analytical and critical thinking skills. Ninth most important, it should be the first one, but it is the most important thing is work ethics. Killing the time in the office, doing chat on the Facebook while you're getting the job is one bad example of work ethics. I fire most of my young professional boys and girls because despite my repeated reminders, they waste time on 1 to 2 hours a day, time on office time on Facebook and on YouTube, chatting and these kind of stuff. So you should have very clear work ethics and code of conduct in your office on which your employee should follow, and everybody should sign a work ethics memorandum or undertaking with the bosses. I must caution, this is the most lethal reason for employer to fire the employees poor work ethics. This is not wastage of time alone. This is also coming late, for example, leaving early, taking long breaks. All those things falls in the work ethics. And using the Sarkari excuses. Sarkari excuses means those excuses which are being used by the clerks of matriculate clerks with small minds for not doing any job. In the last 6 months, I fired 4 high-tech professionals from my office. They come late. They take 2 hours work break, namaz break, and lunch break, and they leave early without telling me. And they think I'm not observing. I have the cameras in my mobile, and I observe everything, but I do not tell anybody. So work ethics is one of the most detrimental aspect which spoils the very root of employability skill. और अगर आप देखें, if you see the सुन्नत तय्यबा, सादिक रमीन का मतलब क्या है? सच्चा और ईमानतदार, and time is imanat. Your boss, imanat is time with you. You are being paid for every minute, and if you use that time with your own time for you doing own job, you are not doing justice with your. I have one boss in Islamabad at last. He was Lieutenant Colonel. He always spent 1 hour extra in the office. I asked one day, why do you spend extra 1 hour? He said, I pray in the office hours for which I'm not being paid. And prayer is my personal job. So I spend 1 extra hour to justify my personal prayers for which I'm not being paid. So you see that this is the level of work ethics to good people. So work ethics is make or break of any organization. Poor work ethics or good work ethics, number one. And work with ethics, poor work ethics is make or break of one young professional. I have millions of examples. I cannot quote here because of shortage of time. And poor level of commitment is also poor work ethics. Poor level of sense of responsibility is also poor work ethics. So poor and high level of rigidity is also poor work ethics. Boss ki, if you do not mold yourself with the wishes and whims of your boss, that is also poor ethics. I am not asking you to mold yourself on the grounds of integrity or honesty. I'm talking about on the professional requirements. So we must mold ourselves as per the professional requirement of our bosses in terms of punctuality, in terms of not wasting time, in terms of going extra mile beyond the call of the job. I always give extraordinary promotion to my office peers who are proactive, who go extra mile, and who give me delighter. I give them more raise. This is my work of style, my work style. So a person with good work ethics always gets extraordinary promotion, extraordinary cash in hand. And he or she is more flexible as per the office requirement. If it is written in the contract from 9 to 5, if you sit at times 9 to 6 to fulfill the professional obligation, that is called flexibility. And that flexibility is another hallmark of your success. So these are reliability and flexibility, honesty, and leadership we have discussed to some extent, and determination. Determination makes ordinary person extraordinary. Skills that employer wants and how they can be developed. Personal audit of employability skill. Akhri slide of the day, then we will take few questions. Now you should carry out an employability audit of yourself and ask these questions to yourself. Ye slides aapko main de raha hu through the courtesy of Tahir Sultan Sahab. Ask yourself these questions. What skills are required for my position at the moment? Ek chota sa matrix banaye. Do I have these skills? Do I developed the skills that are required? What do I need to do in future to develop these skills? If I'm interested in profession, I want to join. What do I know about the professional commercially? Is this career for me or not? Then start to research how you might apply. Agar apne job mein apply karna hai, to us job ke mutabik, you need to mold yourself as per the requirement of that job. Do in the Rome as the Roman do. When I was in America in 1990s, I never studied computer in Pakistan. But I was teaching mathematics in one university. My boss, she was a dean. She came to me and she told me, we do not have any teacher for computer, and computer demand for the computer is 10 times increased because of IT revolution in the 90s. So she asked me, can you teach computer for me? I said, why not? So I molded myself. I helped my boss and I diversified myself. And I made 3 times more money through this flexibility. Though I had to work on my skills for days and nights and for weeks and months, but that paid me a lot. So carry out an in-depth analysis of your employability skill. Now the last 2 slides of the day. Developing employability skills, 5-stage process. You should get your awareness. You should carry out a gap analysis and see what skills you lack, what skills you have strong, what skills you need more investment. So that is the first level is awareness. Then after awareness, you should practice those extra skills. Try to read them, try to see them through the YouTube, use Facebook, and use feedback, and must inculcate yourself through reflection. And last step is refinement. And how you sell your skills. A good professional engineer sell his skills to the bosses that I am good policymaker, I can make good strategies, I'm good communicator in writing and communicator board. I am a good team players. I have a requisite leadership skills. I am self-motivated. I'm a willing worker. I'm not a dhaka start. So, and I'm a great new idea generator. I can give you new commercial value. I can help you to make extra millions of dollars. So you can convince your bosses for future employment through these ideas. Remember one thing, funnel war is war of ideas. For one good idea, you need to have a lot of ideas. Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg made tens of hundreds of billions of dollars from one idea. Windows, one idea, that is Facebook. And we Pakistani, we South Asian, do not have rich ideas. Funnel war is war of ideas. Employability, good employability means skills means we should be rich in ideas. We should be rich in making action plan for implementation of those ideas. We should be able to convince your future boss that we have requisite ability and skills to implement those ideas, and we are man of integrity. We are Sadiq or Amin, and we are the follower of Sadiq or Amin. Our integrity is beyond doubt. So sell yourself in the market, make extra couple of millions of thousands of dollars, and pray for me that I have helped you to make this money. वर्क तमाम हुआ, मद्दा बाकी है. ये 2 दिन का कोर्स मैंने 1.5-2 घंटे में खत्म करने की कोशिश की है. The only purpose is to tell you the importance of these ideas and these 10 to 11 skills which I just gone through which, in a very speedily manner, in a very rush and speed. So from today onward, our focus is not only on the hard skill, but soft skill. Number one, I'm concluding. From today onward, we are also focusing on our personal leadership skills. From today onward, we are also focusing on improving our communication skills, both written and verbal. In Pakistan, when I was in Pakistan, I have taken a course on communication skills way back in late 80s in Army, in EME College, Pindi. And with that skill, I started teaching in America, and throughout in America, I was working in the World Bank, in UN, or in the what you call universities and colleges, because of good communication skills that helped me to make easy money in USA while I was not having the work permit. So communication skills help you to raise beyond imagination. And above all, the last thing which I would mention is start thinking positive, start developing positive attitude, start developing can-do attitude, and start developing smiling attitude, and start having composed and positive and winning attitude. My time is finished. I can give you 10 to 15 minutes for the question answer session. Thank you, Tahir Saab. Zindabad, Pakistan, Zindabad. Questions open for the house. House is open.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. That was a wonderful, informative lecture, and plus the eloquence of your speech made it more clear and more interesting. So I have certain questions which were asked during your lecture when you are giving the lecture, and I will just, can you close down now your screen? So I will share the screens. All questions will come on the screen now. Please close your sharing.
I am giving you these slides. Any question from the Honorable House? I'm more than happy.
I will read the questions. Can you see the screen now?
I can see the question. All positive attitude and teamwork attitude. Someone takes the credit. Acha, the good good trait of any good leader is to give credit to your team, not to yourself. That is the sunnat अंबिया, that is the सूफिया style. मेरी गुजारिश ये है कि आप हमेशा खुद क्रेडिट ना लेने की कोशिश करें, क्रेडिट टीम को दें, और एक स्टेज आएगी कि आपके बॉसेस को खुद एक्सपोज हो जाएगा कि किसने काम किया, और आपकी अल्लाह लोकी और आपकी पॉजिटिविटी और आपकी दरवेशाना सिफतें ना खुल के आ जाएंगी। क्रेडिट के लिए जंग कभी ना करें, ये मेरी गुजारिश है, ये मेरा 30 साल का तजुर्बा है, बड़ी हम्बल सबमिशन है। क्रेडिट के लिए लड़ाई ना लड़िए, मैंने किया था, उसको क्रेडिट लेने दें, ये अल्लाह की बारगाह में कबूलियत का बहाना होता है। आपकी कबूली, आप सिर्फ रहमत और बरकत के उम्मीदवार हैं, याद रखें, तरक्की के उम्मीदवार नहीं है, बरकत और रहमत के उम्मीदवार है। जब उसकी बरकत और रहमत आएगी, इन चीजों की वजह से आती है कि आप इख्तलाफ और फितना और फसाद नहीं फैलाते। हुज़ूर पाक की हदीस मुबारक है कि मेरे जन्नत में मैं उसके लिए आला मुकाम का जिम्मेदार हूँगा जो कि दुनिया में अपने जायज हक को भी उसने छोड़ दिया ताकि फितना और फसाद ना फैले। तो फितना और फसाद से गुरेज करें, खामोश हो जाएं। आप पर क्रेडिट अल्लाह ताला जरूर देगा आपको, और आपके बॉस को भी 6 महीने 2 साल बाद या 10 दिन बाद नजर आ जाएगा, उसकी इज्जत, आपकी इज्जत उसके दिल में और बढ़ेगी। ये मेरा बरादरान मशवरा है। अब आप कहेंगे गलत मशवरा दे रहा, सही मशवरा दे रहा हूँ मैं आपको, अल्लाह की बरकत आएगी। आगे चलें, अगला सवाल पेश करते हैं।
Question number 2, Dr. Sajid, the soft skills that you have described are undoubtedly the prime qualities of one's personality. My question is whether the same would work in the current environment of public sector in Pakistan also. This is from,
very good question. Very good question. I worked from 17th grade to 21 grade. मैंने 17 ग्रेड से 21 ग्रेड तक काम किया। 1995 I came back to Pakistan. I joined on 17th grade as a nurse, as a lecturer. I was captain that in the army. तो मुझे खुद में उन्होंने बैठा दिया और वो पब्लिक सेक्टर के स्टाइल में मैं पढ़ाता रहा। अच्छा, और मैंने तकरीबन सारी चीजें जो आपसे कह रहा हूँ, मैंने नस्ट में एक्सपेरिमेंट किए हैं, मैंने यूटी में एक्सपेरिमेंट किए हैं, मैंने फेडरल गवर्नमेंट में एहसन इकबाल साहब का मैं एडवाइजर रहा, उनके साथ I carried out experiments in all those places in the public sector. You cannot find an excuse since I'm the public sector, so I cannot experiment. No, there's an example in the public sector of success stories. DC Lahore in 1960s, his name was Masood Khadarpour. He is still famous in Lahore. He died maybe 40 years ago, but he practiced all those good things. Masood Khadarpour, Principal Government College Lahore in 60s, his name was Dr. Nazir Ahmad. He practiced all those things. Only he was remembered in Lahore, Government College Lahore. Only one DC Lahore is remembered, that is Masood Khadarpour, because of soft skills and employability skills and leadership skills. इस पे अल्लाह ताला की, ये लोग अल्लाह की रहमत के उम्मीदवार होते हैं। मेरी बात को रजिस्टर कर लें बस। मैं दिल की गहराइयों से बातें कर रहा हूँ, सब झूठ नहीं बोल रहा, ना कोई मुझे मुनाफिकत की जरूरत है, ये तजुर्बा बोल रहा है मेरा दिल की गहराइयों से। ये पब्लिक सेक्टर में इक्वली, जैसे अब इक्वली एप्लीकेबल इन पब्लिक सेक्टर। I used very comfortably in UET while staying in four years stay. और उन 4 सालों में I was given only 1 million by the Vice Chancellor General Kram, and I was able to fetch and generate 25 crore, 25 crore per annum on a new school of business, which was having 1,500 students on market rate. And that was number 2 or 3 schools in 4 years only, in terms of growth, in terms of delivery. And that was made possible through these soft skills which I used there. And I was the only professor, mostly the remaining were lecturers and part-timers. So this is very much common. If it is possible in UT Lahore, it is possible everywhere. If it is possible in Islamabad, it is possible everywhere. I can assure you, this is your intention. इसका दारोमदार आपकी नियतों पे बस आप लगे रहें, डटे रहें, आपको मसले, you will find a lot of hurdles, but always talk in your self talk, अपनी खुद कलामी में positive talk करें, बस ये याद रखना है। एक राज की बात कह रहा हूँ, whenever you talk to yourself, that is self talk, खुद कलाम हो तो positive talk करें। अगर आप अपने से नेगेटिव टॉक करेंगे, आप ज़हनी मरीज बन जाएंगे। ये बड़ा अजीबो गरीब सा मशवरा दे रहा हूँ जो शायद कोई सूफी दे सकता है, शायद कोई साइकोलॉजी दे सकता है, मैं कुछ भी नहीं हूँ, लेकिन ये तजर्बा है मेरा। मैंने एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी टेंशन और स्ट्रेसेस में पॉजिटिव सेल्फ टॉक की थी, पछतावा नहीं सोचा था अपने आप पे। अल्लाह ताला की रहमतें होती हैं उसके बाद। आगे चलें जी।
Question number 3. Now, can you read the questions on the on my desktop? Can you see my desktop? The question number 3 is, can do work attitude
In commercial sector, usually projects are won at competitive rates and staff are expecting to deliver with insufficient resources. And if staff raises this deficiency, his attitude is termed as with no can-do attitude. Did you understand that?
Yes, I got your point. Public sector has a strange culture, which I believe after 10, 20 years, maybe 5 years across the road, would be starting to change, number one. And that is the manifestation of public sector culture. As an engineer, I must pinpoint through email, I must document my point of view logically, so that tomorrow if someone catches me, that while project is delayed, we must have sufficient evidence to save ourselves. However, we must try to find some other ways through our personal efforts, through networking, through lobbying, to accelerate the project. That I normally do. Whenever I did public sector project in the tune of tens of millions of rupees, I always do my personal lobbying and networking to keep the things moving and rolling. और कुदरत और अल्लाह की जात मेरा ख्याल है मेरी नाचीज राय में they appreciate that you are going beyond the call of the duty. Simply sending one email that please provide us fund is not sufficient. Go extra mile, lobby, call, and even if you need to go to Islamabad for fund release, must go. I have seen the leadership in the public sector university. They go and sit in the HEC and they stay there for days and weeks to lobby for the money. So for the employees and for the expansion, they get extra money. So this is not the bad thing to lobby positively for moving the project in the positive direction. Fourth question, ji, aage chalenge.
The fourth question is again by Muhammad Anjum. He's saying, referring to a quote, justice to speak. Similarly, work to speak and visible, but how balance is maintained that you are not considered as self-praising guy in Urdu Miya Mithu, and at the same time parasites don't get credit of your work. Ji Doctor.
This is very common phenomena of third world public sector culture. As I mentioned earlier, we may need couple of millions of man hours to explain or define the public sector culture, because of which Pakistan is not making progress. The main what you call hurdle or blockade of Pakistan prosperity and progress is not corruption. That is a segment of that. Main thing is public sector culture, which is impeding the smooth running of the projects, thereby spoiling the growth or productivity and prosperity and progress of the country. We must work on the cultural change of public sector, number one. We cannot do in 1 or 2 or 5 years. It may take 1 to 2 decades. But in the private sector, the things is relatively far good. And the office and the office of Tahir Sultan is one example. We are flourishing because we do not enjoy the badness of that culture. So it is easy to blame, it is difficult to bless. Yet, वो जो इकबाल ने कहा ना कि जहां में अहले ईमान सूरत खुर्शी जीते हैं, इधर डूबे उधर निकले उधर डूबे. Try to find some way out. आपको दरमियान में से हमेशा गैप मिल जाते हैं अगर आपकी ख्वाहिश हो. हम simply blame करके third world को, हम third world, we are in the third world because we do not move at a rapid speed. So we are in the third world. When we start moving at the rapid speed, we will in the second world. When we will start at the faster speed, we will in the first world. This is the speed, and speed has positive or direct relationship with the culture. So invest in the culture. As a big boss, my job or your job could be to invest in the culture, speedy culture, responsive culture, can-do culture, smiling culture. Next question. We have.
Next question, Haji. The next question is from engineer Fahar Masood. The question is, although it is very good lecture for enhancing the skills, but question is what about the mindset? How can we change our others' mindset? All typical mindset. No matter what we can adopt these skills, let's say we have 85% skills that you have mentioned, but from higher authorities we get nothing.
no matter we give our best. I worked in UAE for 2 years, but really very bad experience. Ji Dr. Saab.
Actually, this is again very good and frequently asked question pertaining indirectly to the culture of public sector organization. Yet, this is my experience. If you have extraordinary skill, if you have invested more on your personality, on your proactively, on your soft skills, you will be noticed by the big bosses. It is not good to give your own example, but I'm giving you my own example. I had the skills of management and management sciences when I landed to NUST. And Director NUST one fine morning noticed this over a cup of tea and asked me to open the School of Business. And he asked me, can you work day and night to start and conceive this program? I said, yes. So because of my skills and willingness to work, I made PC1 of that project, got it approved from the Planning Commission and started in a 2-room school of business. After 20 years or 25 years, it is now in one sector of H12 Islamabad. We started from one discussion on a cup of tea with Director NUST, Jana Shujat. So what I'm trying to focus is, if you have willingness to work, number one, and extraordinary determination coupled with some new set skills, nobody could stop you. There were more than 400 or 500 professors at NUST at that time. I was given extraordinary raise और मेरी तनख्वाह 10,000 से मेजर से एकदम 45,000 हो गई 1-2 महीनों में और मुझे उन्होंने head of department, they made me head of department and they give me authority and they give me, you know, other losses and so forth. So if you develop these kind of skills, you will be noticed by the big bosses, either in the public sector or private sector. Either way, nature has a unique system to reward the extra pain, extra gain. Extra gain, extra pain. बस ये ड्रामा ये जितना गुड़ डालोगे उतना मीठा होगा. गुड़ से मुराद यहाँ पे स्किल्स है और वो भी सॉफ्ट स्किल. आप ब्लेम नहीं कर सकते मेरे साथ वाला बंदा नेगेटिव है. थर्ड वर्ल्ड में -% 90% लोग हैं, याद रखना है. आप 10% में बन जाएं बजाय ब्लेम करने के. ब्लेम करने का छोड़ते हैं, ब्लेसिंग भी शुरू हो जाए, देना शुरू करते हैं. अच्छा आइडिया भी, अच्छी दुआ भी, खैर की उम्मीद करना भी देना है. किसी को मुस्बत रवैयों के अहिया के लिए धक्का देना भी देना है. पैसे देना सिर्फ देना नहीं है. आगे चलें जी. सरदार साहब.
Last question, Dr. Saab. This is from Mohammed Imran, and he is asking an issue which is very common these days, and I would like that you should dilate on this matter and give some confidence to the young engineers. He is asking ways to promote a positive mindset if someone has lost their job due to the positive attitude.
I lost my job 2 or 3 times, as you mentioned earlier, but every second time I got the best job. जब मैंने UT की जॉब छोड़ी तो वो उस वक्त मार्च था. It was March at that time, and new hiring of the big position director dean normally carried out in the August and September. So I could not get a job in Pakistan and I got a job in USA. So positive attitude के साथ अल्लाह की रहमतें भी साथ आती हैं. आप इतना परेशान ना हो जाएंगे, मर जाएंगे, लुट जाएंगे. कुछ खुदा की जात पे, बरकतों पे, रहमतों के उम्मीदवार रहें. दरमियान में आजमाइशें तो नबियों पे आई हैं. तो मैं आपको बार-बार इनकरेज करूंगा कि गुड माइंडसेट पे अगर आपको उसकी प्राइस पे करनी. मैंने नस्ट में और कई जगहों पे मैंने गुड माइंडसेट की प्राइस पे की है. 1900 से 20 ग्रेड नहीं मिला, डायरेक्टली किसी ग्रेड प्लेट में रख के घर आ गया. ये मेरे साथ नहीं, मौजूद के साथ होते हैं. उसके साथ होते हैं जो अल्लाह ताला की रहमत पे बिलीव करके सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ, ज़ौक़ यकीन के साथ, क़ुव्वत यकीन के साथ जब समुद्र में आप डाइव करते हैं तो आपके हाथ में गारा बजरी और मिट्टी नहीं आती, गोरे यकदना हीरे आने शुरू हो जाते हैं फिर समुद्र के. और ये मौजे इंसानों के साथ होते हैं, क़ुव्वत यकीन के हामिल लोगों के साथ, पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड के साथ. लेकिन आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट करनी है. स्किल ग़ज़वा खंदक में सलमान फारसी के पास एक स्किल था कि अच्छा मशवरा दे दिया, दफाई हिकमत अमली जो अरबों के पास निस्बतन इतनी ज्यादा नहीं थी, क्योंकि ईरानी फाइटिंग फोर्स थी. तो ईरानी नेशन का नुमाइंदा बैठा हुआ था, अबू हजरत सलमान फारसी रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु. उसने जो मशवरा दिया था वो भी एक स्किल सेट का हिस्सा था. और आप माइंडसेट को ब्लेम करके अपनी जान नहीं छुड़ा सकते. आप टकरे मारते रहे. अगर इफ आई एम ए प्रोजेक्ट इंजीनियर, आई शुड गो टू एनहांस माय स्किल्स थ्रू PMP, प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट प्रोफेशनल का सर्टिफिकेट ले लें. You will be one engineer in a million. you will be more likely to be chosen in the Middle East or North America or Canada or America or UK. So try to enhance your skill as opposed to blaming the negative skill set. It is very easy to blame. Remember my last comment. It is very easy to blame, but it is difficult to bless. And you should bless yourself through extra skills. Blessing is not giving money to someone else. Blessing is in investing on your capability and capacity and competencies. If you are not investing it and only blaming the boss negative था मुझे निकाल दिया, ये एक थर्ड वर्ड का रवायती मुंशी मोहम्मदीन करता है. उस मुंशी मोहम्मदीन रिपोर्ट से निकल जाए. ऐसी नमाज से गुजर, ऐसे इमाम से गुजर. तेरी नमाज बेहजूर और तेरा इमाम बेसरूर. तो बेसरूर इमाम ना बने. ब्लेमिंग की एटीट्यूड को ऐसा ऐसा खत्म करते जाए. ये वेस्ट में भी एक्सप्लॉयटेशन है. जी लास्ट क्वेश्चन जनाब.
सर क्वेश्चंस पूरे हो गए. आई डोंट
चलो जी, बहुत I really enjoyed your efforts. सर आपने selflessly काम किया. एक शेर में नजर कर लूंगा आपकी इजाजत से ताहिर सुल्तान के नाम. फैज अहमद फैज का शेर है कि जिसका अमल है बेगरज उसकी जजा कुछ और है. ये इकबाल का शेर है, सॉरी. जिसका अमल है बेगरज उसकी जजा कुछ और है. तो ताहिर सुल्तान साहब की टीम रिजवान मिर्जा साहब के साथ और बाकी दोस्तों के साथ ये सेल्फलेसली कौम के लिए काम कर रहे हैं. दिल की गहराइयों से दुआ है और आप सबके लिए दुआ है कि आज की मेरी जो गुजारिशात थी उसको कोई भी नेगेटिवली ना ले. मैंने दिल की गहराइयों से अल्लाह की बरकतों रहमतों के तो फैल कहा है कि स्किल लें, फिर उसकी मेहनत पे, उसकी रहमत पे, आप उसकी अनायत पे यकीन रखें. थैंक यू वेरी मच एंड गॉड ब्लेस यू जी.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. I would again say that your lecture was very informative, and the way you deliberated the lecture, it was so eloquent, it's so clear. I am pretty sure the audience must have enjoyed the lecture very much and must have understood the message you were trying to give. So thank you. Just a few announcements. Dr. Saab, it is our tradition that whosoever is the guest speaker, we give him a certificate of honor and a shield, which that you will receive either in your office or at your home address.
अच्छा, मेरी गुजारिश है शील्ड को अगर नहीं बनवाया तो ना बनवाया, सर्टिफिकेट मुझे भेज दें बस कागज का. और आपको क्या देना, शील्ड हो गई, वो 500,000 रुपए बचा के अच्छे कॉस्ट के लिए इस्तेमाल करेंगे. वो मेरे तरफ से हो गया.
वो शील्ड अब बन चुकी है तो आपको एक्सेप्ट करनी पड़ेगी सर. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
वेलकम अगेन. खुदा हाफिज़.
And the दीगर announcements हैं जी. A next lecture is being given on 10th October 2020. Dr. Saab ji masroof bande hain, so he had to leave. Please don't mind. He had to go. He is a very busy person. Acha ji. Next lecture is by Dr. Fuad Muzaffar on design of buildings, and it will take place on 10th October 2020. Same time. Acha, next is I read a comment regarding certificates. Original certificates have to be collected from our office by every individual. If you want that the certificate should be delivered to you by mail or by courier mail, it can be done, but you have to deposit a certain amount, which Ms. Sadia Naveed will tell you. You can always email her, and she will give you the price for the cost of the courier mail. Just deposit the money where she will give you the bank account. Then she will send you the certificate by courier mail. There is no third way. Now, if we scan the certificate and send you by email, it won't be original. Every certificate individually is signed by me and by Rizwan Mirza, engineer Rizwan Mirza, and then it is sent to you, so that it should have a value, and the original document should be with you. And I'm sorry to say, in our office there are, I think, about 30 or 35 certificates are lying. Nobody has come to collect those certificates. So kindly, whosoever has not received the certificate, listening my voice, kindly come to the office. The address I have already sent on the chat, in the chat box. Please read the address. It is I will read it. 32 Main Gulberg, Lahore. It's a central place, and telephone number is 35713-362. It is up to 64. Mr. Ahmed Akram is there. and he would be very pleased to give you the certificates from from Monday to Friday 10 to 5. You can collect these certificates. Now, for this lecture, you would be receiving a pro forma, survey pro forma, or you can say it feedback pro forma from Ms. Sadia. I think or either on Monday or maybe tomorrow you will receive the pro forma. Kindly fill the required information, answer the required questions, and send back and return back the pro forma to Ms. Sadia so that it can be kept in our records, and PSC can improve as per your suggestions, and that pro forma will also be given to Dr. Saab so that he can also see if there is any space for improvement. So this is all, and let me see if I haven't missed anything. For our next lecture announcement I have made. For your information, today we have 158 associates, and it seems PSC is not very popular among the students. For the last, I think, 6 months, our tally is standing at 13. So I don't know why students are not so interested. The lectures are almost, are 100% free. Only for the certificate, if you are not in Lahore, you have to pay a certain amount to get it by courier. So why young people are not taking advantage of this free lectures? They are so knowledgeable, and they really add to your skills that you have to work out in your engineering career. So let's see if we can get more students in future. Magazines, we have 8. And as I had announced last time, that the last magazine, number 8, which is now on our website, it has a note on Karachi, an article on Karachi rainfall. Do read it; that's very interesting. That was compiled by Mr. Rizwan Mirza. An excellent article. Do read it, and it's very knowledgeable. And if there are any questions regarding PSCE, if there are any questions regarding society's working, so I can. I think there are no questions, so we just we will end this session. And thank you very much for all the audience who is present on Zoom and who are watching us on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you very much for taking out your time. And please do collect your certificates of this lecture as from the address I have already told you. Thank you very much. Khuda Hafiz. God bless you.